Now at 6, what the legalization of recreational marijuana in Missouri means for Kansas. We'll hear from a sheriff. Plus, a teenager faces charges for the deaths of a Kansas City, Missouri police officer and pedestrian. And Pittsburgh receives a grant to continue surveys of historic downtown buildings. What this could mean for the future.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
As Missouri adjusts to the legalization of recreational marijuana, the impact is also felt in southeast Kansas. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. KOAM's Yana Hautala talked with a sheriff at Addiction Treatment Center in Kansas about the issues legalized marijuana might bring into the state.
Since recreational marijuana has been legalized in the state of Missouri, law enforcement in Kansas may have slightly more work to do.
I think that we most certainly could see people who have lawfully smoked or ingested marijuana in Missouri and then travel into the state of Kansas.
Jerry Crow says they have not seen so much of an uptick in cases with possession of marijuana on the side of Kansas, but there's a slight increase in impaired driving.
We're adapting to the legalization of marijuana and the higher instances of drivers being impaired by not just marijuana but any kind of controlled substance.
Sheriffs are trained to conduct different types of roadside tests.
They're looking for specific clues during that whole interaction, and based on those clues, if they're present, they may be asked to take an additional test.
DCCCA Addiction Treatment Center in Pittsburgh notices changes with residents.
People not thinking marijuana use is a problem anymore because it's been legalized in just about every state around us.
Deidre Johnson says there could be an increase with people in Kansas using marijuana, and problems can come along with the use.
Just have something else to focus on and not have to think about their problems, or to be able to relax, and people can get dependent on that pretty quickly.
A lot of Kansas residents are in Missouri frequently, and Missouri residents are in Kansas and back and forth. At the end of the day, marijuana in the state of Kansas is still illegal.
In southeast Kansas, Yana Hautala, KOAM News.
Sheriff Grove says consequences for bringing a small amount of marijuana is generally a misdemeanor. Larger quantities and other items could lead to a charge of felony possession with intent to distribute. A Kansas teen is charged for a Kansas City, Missouri crash that killed an officer, a pedestrian, and a canine. 18-year-old Jaron Lightfoot of Tonganoxie faces 2 counts of first-degree involuntary manslaughter. Lightfoot apparently was not seriously injured himself. The crash happened Wednesday night. Authorities say Lightfoot was driving his car at around 85 miles an hour or more and ran a red light, hitting the police cruiser driven by Officer James Mulbauer, who later died at the hospital. Police canine Champ was found dead in the back seat of the car. Police then found a man dead under the police car, but there's no word yet on his name. Authorities say Lightfoot was not under the influence. Let's check in with meteorologist Sam Lane for a first look at the weather.
Thank you much, Dow. It's been a beautiful day across the 4 states, lots of sunshine and a little bit on the cool side this morning. But radar's clear, and it's going to stay that way for most of the evening and into tomorrow. Temperatures yesterday were struggling in the 20s, and then they dipped down into the lower 20s this morning, but we warmed up into the lower 40s this afternoon, and that's pretty good. We're going to see temperatures dropping through the 40s into the 30s tonight, all the way down to 28 by tomorrow morning. And looking down the lane, we do have some warmer weather headed our way, but we have some Saturday sprinkles to deal with, and also the fire danger is going to be increasing as well with those strong winds. A warmer Sunday and a warmer week ahead, and I'll tell you all about that when we come back with weather in just a little while.
See you then. Pittsburgh is taking a closer look at its historic downtown buildings. The city's getting a grant from the State Historic Preservation Office of up to $16,000. That's going to fund the next phase of a survey to learn more about the history of some of the buildings, who owned them, and how they were used. It could be useful information in planning disaster response, future development, and more.
Well, there's a couple things that you gain. First of all, you get a picture of what the city was like in its early days, right? What happened as the city developed, right? But it also makes people feel a little bit more ownership, that there's a reason and a purpose and some sort of historical context for the town that they're living in.
One round of surveys is already complete. Those were of buildings facing Broadway, which was more than 100 buildings. Phase 2 is the buildings off Broadway, which is about 80 buildings. The Boots Court Motel in Carthage is now fully open for guests to stay. This historic motel is the second oldest motel in operation on Route 66. The Boots Court Foundation saved the motel from being torn down.
And that's what Route 66 is all about. Taking something from our heritage and sharing it with the people around the world. I mean, we have people from all countries that have reservations coming up this spring, and we just can't wait to get to meet those people and show them our beautiful boots.
The Boots Court Motel has 13 rooms and is available for nightly stays only. We're going to take a more in-depth look at the renovation tonight at 10. Coming up, some Carthage students explore their possible futures. We'll visit the Carthage Trade Center Career Fair. Plus, an inactive police force in a Missouri town could make its return. We'll hear from city officials on the plans. Students in Carthage got a chance to learn about possible career options. Carthage Technical Center today hosted its annual career fair. More than 60 vendors, including businesses, colleges, and the military, were there. The fair allows students to meet local employers, showcase their skills, and network with people in various industries.
To provide a wide variety to our students to let them see what's out there. You know, we've got healthcare, we've got MoDOTs here, law enforcement agencies, a little bit of everything, just that wide variety to show students what's available in our area and hopefully pique an interest in or a career possibility in their interests.
There was also a booth for assistance with financial aid and one to register to vote. The city of Highlandville, Missouri, no longer has a police protection. The city did away with its police reserves, then the remaining officers resigned. The mayor says it's a bump in the road right now. One paid officer resigned, one paid officer is on administrative leave. It's over a dispute about how a domestic disturbance was handled. The mayor says he wants the department to come back. Liam Garrity reports with more on what happened and who's keeping the town safe.
They are protected in the same way that they always have been.
It's nothing to be alarmed about. You call 911 and we'll respond.
Since the beginning of February, Highlandville has not had a police force. Mayor Clint Ellingsworth says one officer resigned, another placed on leave over how a call was handled.
It's not been totally eliminated. It could come back. I don't know at what date.
Mayor Ellingsworth says the city's budget was also a factor. Sheriff Brad Cole says this doesn't change how his deputies patrol Christian County.
I mean, it's no different than normal. Like I said, we handle a lot of the law enforcement services in the city of Highlandville already.
Sheriff Cole says 75% of the time you're already going to get a Christian County deputy if you call 911. It may change response times for nuisance calls, but not much else.
You're not going to be looking at a long response from a deputy if you do have an emergency.
As for the investigation on the Highlandville police officer, Mayor Ellingsworth is still waiting on results. Sheriff Cole's investigation is complete, and now it's up to the Christian County prosecutor to decide whether to file charges. Mayor Ellingsworth says they are trying to do the best they can.
We try to spread that revenue around the best that we can. We're here for the citizens to do the best we can with what we have to do with.
Sheriff Cole says he's going to Highlandville's next city council meeting on March 13th. They're going to discuss some sort of contract with the city and the sheriff's department. A little bit later, the Pitt State women's basketball team looks back on their win against Fort Hays State last night.
And we've started the weekend off great with lots of sunshine. Is it going to last through the weekend? I'll have the answer when we come back. Well, yesterday we saw a return to winter, and today we've started off chilly, but this afternoon temperatures warmed up into the 40s, still a little bit below normal. Beautiful shot right now in Seneca, Missouri, to Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Not a cloud in the sky, and it's been that way most of the afternoon. This afternoon, we made it up to 43 degrees after starting out at a chilly 21. Of course, both of those were below the normals of 51 and 29. The records is 74 back in 2011 and 4 back in 1993. Radar is all clear right now, and that's going to stay that way for at least a little bit longer. The winds are going to be increasing, though, as we go over the weekend. By tomorrow morning, we're going to see winds generally around 25 to 30 miles per hour especially up towards the north. Then as we go through the day, those winds are going to really increase, especially to the north and west, with winds around 30 to 35 miles per hour. Then as we go through the overnight hours, those winds are going to be moving to the south and east. So we're going to see the gusty winds overnight here in the metro area. Then by Sunday morning, the strongest winds will be down to the south. And then by afternoon, the winds are going to be letting up a little bit by Sunday afternoon. And when you combine that with the dry conditions over southeastern Kansas, where the drought is still exceptional for our western areas, please be aware of the fire danger, as we don't want any out of control fires tomorrow. Temperatures are generally in the 40s and 50s earlier this afternoon, and now they're down into the 40s everywhere. 41 in Nevada, same thing in Lamar, 46 in Parsons, 49 though over there in Sedan. When you factor in the wind, it feels like it's in the 30s for the most part from Missouri eastward, 40s out towards the west, where it feels like 41 right now in Yates Center, 39 down in Grove. Right now, a beautiful shot as the sun sets here in Joplin. 40 degrees, it feels like 33. That's because the wind is out of the west at 10, giving a little bit of a chill to the air right now, and the dew point is low at 17. And temperatures tonight are going to be dropping down once again into the 20s. Not as cold as it was this morning, but still around 20 to 25 degrees in many locations, around 31 here in the metro area. South winds are going to be coming up from the south, and by the afternoon they're going to be really increasing with temperatures in the 40s under partly to mostly cloudy skies, and then maybe a few showers late Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then by Sunday morning we'll see lows in the 30s with those south winds continuing, and the clouds will be increasing on Sunday afternoon, but we should still make it up into the upper 50s to around 60 degrees. But notice there is a front dropping down from the north. Really it's more of a wind shift line. And then as we go into Monday morning, lows will generally be in the 30s. Rainfall amounts are not going to be all that great with the scattered showers and sprinkles over the weekend, but as we go into Wednesday, that's when the rain chances really start to increase, and we could see maybe an inch or more in some isolated spots. Over the next 7 days, here's the forecast. Tomorrow 51, 60 on Sunday, 63 on Monday, and warmer as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday with highs in the mid-60s and the chance of rain on Wednesday. And then a little bit cooler behind that system as we go into next weekend, another round of rain. So at least it's more spring-like around here this week.
Yeah, once it crosses that 60-degree mark, psychologically at least, it feels a lot more.
It is a psychological barrier, yep.
Thanks, Sam. Still ahead, the Pittsburgh boys host SEK rival Fort Scott tonight, aiming to earn the outright conference title. And Missouri Southern baseball looks to stay rolling in a non-conference game against McKendree. Jacob Leonard has that and a lot more coming up next.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas are 5-2 to begin the baseball season. They're 1 week away from beginning MIAA league play, but first, they have a busy few days playing 5 games in the next 5 days. Now it starts this afternoon, hosting the Sioux Falls Cougars. Now that one actually still going. It's in the bottom of the 6th. Gorillas have opened up an 18-2 lead. Nixon Brandon for the Gorillas. Another big day, 3 for 4 with a home run and 3 RBIs. As for the Missouri Southern Lions, they're 7-2 this season. They're at home facing McKendree. We'll pick this game up in the top of the first on 3 straight pitches. We do not have the highlights. That one right now, Cole Woods had 5 strikeouts in the first 3 innings for Southern right now. Southern leads that one 4-2 in the bottom of the 6th. Now the Pittsburgh High School boys basketball team is 13-4 this season. Purple Dragons have already wrapped up at least a share of the SEK League Championship. It's their 3rd straight league title and 7th in the last 8 years. Now tonight Pittsburgh aims to earn the outright conference championship, hosting SEK rival Fort Scott. That one will get started at about 7:30 in Pittsburgh. We'll have highlights from the game right here tonight at 10. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas split a doubleheader last night with the Fort Hays State Tigers. On the men's side, the Gorillas fell 71-49. The PSU women beat the Tigers 76-66 for their 12th win in the last 14 games. And Pitt State had 4 players in double figures last night, led by Grace Pyle and Tristan Gegg. Pyle finished with 17. Gegg had 16. Jenna Shipley came off the bench and went 6 for 6 from the field. She finished with 13 points. Fort Hays State came back, made it a 1-possession game multiple times in the second half, but the Gorillas, they stayed cool, knocked down the free throws, and they were able to finish it off in the end.
It's a sign of maturity. We do have a young group, but they're playing pretty confident right now, and so that that I just think lends to they've kind of transitioned. Probably second half of the year they've become a mature basketball team, and so I think that's the biggest thing. And just so proud of the group and their support of each other, and everybody stepping up and making plays at different times, critical times.
Well, the Missouri Southern Lions were also on the floor Thursday night, hosting a doubleheader against Nebraska Kearney. The Southern men cruised by the Lopers 86-59 to sweep the season series from Kearney. On the women's side, Lions battled to the end but fell just short to the 10th-ranked Lopers. Southern was down by as much as 14 in the first half. Came all the way back, had a chance at the end, but Kearney finished it off 58-56. It really came down to rebounding. The Lopers out-rebounded the Lions by 11, and Southern gave up 14 offensive boards.
We were losing 50-50 balls. We were giving up offensive rebounds. It's an effort thing. It's not they were more talented than us. They wanted it more than us. They worked harder than us. They went after it, and we didn't.
Good team. You can't give up that many second, third opportunities, and sometimes it was fourth opportunity. So there's just one of those things that we got to make sure that we're mindful that we stay focused on the defensive end and complete the stop. We get them take a tough shot, and then we got to make sure we box out and go get the ball.
It's one of those games you have to put it in perspective a little bit. You went down by as much as 14 in the first half to the 10th-ranked team in the country. They came back and tied it up with about 90 seconds to go, but in the end they fall by just 2. It's there are no moral victories in the MIAA, but they play really well against at least in the final 3 quarters
against a very good team. Exactly. We'll be right back. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We're going to have a lot more on the reopening of the Boots Court Motel in Carthage, which had been closed for decades. Plus, a senator is being praised for seeking treatment for depression. And a 4-year-old is going viral just for being featured on the Jumbotron at a hockey game. Those stories and a lot more, of course. It's all coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. K-9 Officer Lucy and her handler, Special Agent Amber Calmer, have joined the Special Investigations Division in Little Rock because Lucy has a special skill. She can sniff out electronic devices like cell phones and hard drives and SD cards and will be able to help during search warrants to find important evidence. And although Lucy works for the Attorney General's office, she's going to be available for any law enforcement agencies across the state of Arkansas that need her expertise.
That is a very rare, specific capability that K-9 Lucy has. There's only one of these in Arkansas, and it's Lucy, and there's only 100 in the entire world.
When she's not on the job, Lucy is also a companion comfort dog for young crime victims.
Nice.
She smells electronics.
I don't know how that happens.
I would think that her nose would be going off everywhere, but that is an amazing skill. A lot of dogs are remarkable. Some remarkable weather coming up this weekend.
Yes, we might actually see the northern lights tonight. If you look up to the north late tonight in the dark skies, you might see that, as we're going to have clear skies, and that continues through the weekend with temperatures in the 60s next week with another round of rain on Wednesday and then another round maybe next weekend. So not bad.
Final sports note.
Kansas City Chiefs are losing their offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, headed to Washington to be their assistant head coach, offensive coordinator. He's been with Kansas City since 2013, served as their OC since 2018.
I know he'd interviewed for a lot of head coaches jobs in recent years. Didn't get any of those, but boy, everybody wishes him well.
He obviously did well in Kansas City.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here at 10. Let's make it a great evening.